Pranama from Adhyapana. This week, let us learn about how forests get represented in Indian writing and Western writings differently. Forests have always been important sources of energy in all Indian folk tales, myths, and in legends. Ancient India has been a witness for the powerful source of energy that forest has to offer. Also, one thing we can observe that there is a lot of difference between the Indian concept of wilderness and the Western or the colonizers' concept of wilderness. Today, I'm going to mention few names like John Muir, Henry David Thoreau, and Wordsworth, who are famous for their nature writings from the West. Similarly, Jim Corbett and Kenneth Anderson from India. But when we go through their works, we can undoubtedly see that Jim Corbett and Kenneth Anderson portray wilderness in exactly same lines as that of John Muir, Henry David Thoreau, and Wordsworth. They have actually aped the idea of nature as sublime from their English counterparts and have picturized wilderness in its sublime state as shadowy, dark, trembling, and dreaded. Now, let us talk about what is sublime. Sublime arouses a feeling of astonishment and horror, though it is admired for its vastness and power. It is here we can note the difference between sublime and beautiful. The idea behind beautiful is only limited to arouse pleasure, unlike sublime. The sublime wilderness found its literary base especially in romantic poetry. The most famous nature imagery of Scottish Highlands, Lake District, and English mountains are derived from ancient European sublime archetypes. Sublime resorts to a large degree of terror to also induce spiritual bewilderment, wherein, on the other hand, Indian folktales do not portray nature or wilderness as the other or as a separate entity ever. Instead, Indian folktales exhibit a very grand show of harmonious relationship between human beings and nature. Also, we get to see the base ideas of many modern day scientific innovations are drawn from the images presented in ancient Indian folk tales. Forests are often seen as a place of refuge in Indian folk tales, myths, and legends. One of the best examples can be Ramayana, which takes place in various jungles of India. Both Rama and Sita being safe in the lap of jungle. It is the forest that consoles Sita when she is rendered alone after her abduction by Ravana. It is the same forest that provides the much needed support to Rama to win over Ravana, and it is the forest again that becomes an important image throughout Ramayana. Similarly, the usage of forest and wilderness imagery can be seen in Mahabharata as well. This image of wilderness as a place of refuge is not limited to just these two epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Instead, it is very much an essential aspect of all Indian writings, especially the ancient Indian folk tales. Now, in order to understand this better, an example would be excellent, isn't it? Definitely, we'll do a close reading of A.K. Ramanujan's Folktales of India to understand the concept of representation of wilderness in Indian folktales better. But then we'll park this for next week where we will go through this reading. Till then, happy viewing, happy studying and analyzing. Thank you.